Atlas, and Jira plans. So I will hand over to Devesh, and thank you, Devesh, for being a speaker to our webinar. Over to you.
Thanks, Ashish. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. Today I'm going to talk about some of the delivery management, skills that we can use within Atlassian framework, and different tools which have come together to create a synergetic approach where delivery management can be optimized. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. Once I do that, Ashish, just please confirm once you see it. So I'll be sharing my screen in a second, and
Yes.
you should
Yeah.
be seeing a
The
presentation in the
presentation. Yes.
presentation mode.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome.
Okay.
Right. So thanks everyone for joining this session. I'm going to talk about transforming delivery, a synergetic approach with JPD, Atlas, and Jira plans. I'm Devesh Manguk. I'm a PMP CSM certified professional with Lean Six Sigma Green Belt. I'm a MBA from a premium university along with BTech in Electronics and Communication. Currently, I'm working as Principal Program Manager with Atlassian. So that's a brief introduction about myself. About this particular workshop, we are going to talk about delivery management. In the first few slides, you will set up a case study for this session. And this is going to be a little workshop oriented session where I'll be showcasing what can be achieved by integrating these tools, as well as I will be doing few things to show you how this can be achieved. So it's not just a kind of a a session. It will be more like a workshop where I'll do things so you can see it, and once you're back in your workspace, you can actually try doing those things and get the benefit out of it. So with this very short and crisp agenda, let's start. So delivery management, I've been attending lots of seminars with the public in public forum, and I've come across people asking me one simple question, that if I am doing a product management or a product delivery or a product creation as a product company or as a service company, how can I use Atlassian products to create a delivery plan? And that's where some of the understanding needs to come in here. So we'll start with a case study, very simple case study. Just for the for this particular session, I've taken very random case study, but a very generic one which should be fulfilling most of the scenarios. So the first thing that we are going to do here is create the case study. The case study is that we are talking about a large US e-commerce company which has awarded a 3-year contract to of $400 million to a IT service company, and the objective of the contract is to develop a new e-commerce platform to sell a wide variety of products across the globe. Right, so a very generic scenario, right? It's not just when I'm not talking about e-commerce, and it can be any product. It's basically a multi-year, large product size, large program size. That's the intent here. The moment we are talking about multi-year delivery, then we would like to have some agile mechanism to make sure that we are delivering things right, and in agreement with our customer or in agreement with the consumer. So there you will see that slow but steady work breakdown structure will start coming up in your organization. And on the right side of the slide, you will see that I've got something like a 3-year program, which will be split into three sections as a year one plan, year two plan, year three plan. And then for a simple product development activity like this, there can be a IT infra team that gets involved. There will be a product delivery team that gets involved. There will be a team that will be talking about how to support this product as it gets into the agile delivery. And there can be many more such teams that get involved into it. And this same structure will apply for year two, year three, with less and more focus amongst these buckets and some of the new buckets coming into picture. But once we do this kind of activity, then talking more from the product delivery perspective, so now we're moving from the case study to the program management. And here on the left side, you see that the product delivery, one of the multiple boxes, it again will have a year one, year two, year three. For every year within that year, as an organization, you won't like to understand, like at the end of the year, what did I do? So you will create certain milestones in between. So you'll have multiple milestones like mile one, my advocate screens or my customer support screen should be ready. Mile two, my product category screen should be ready. Mile three, user management screen should be ready. And these are very generic screens. I'm not saying that this is how the product will evolve. I've just taken a few examples. At the same time, once we have, so here what we have done, there is a 3-year program which has split into 3-year structure. We have identified different teams that are involved into it. Then we have gone ahead and identified for each team what is their 3-year roadmap, and that roadmap we have converted into different milestones for each year. Now, within those milestones, again, a milestone is basically a functionality being delivered. We will have a quarter by quarter delivery checkpoints. And those checkpoints, like you on the right side, you can see for one milestone, which is advocate screen, it might deliver a certain portion of it in Q1, something in Q2, something in Q3, something like wireframes are getting ready in Q1, login screens, MVPs coming out. So just a few examples I've taken here. But what I'm trying to do here is that from a contract or from an objective or a goal perspective, we have divided this from goal to multi-year roadmap, from multi-year roadmap to milestones, and from milestones to quarter-wise checkpoints that we need to achieve. And all this right now we have done on a nice slide, nothing in the product. So how does it all translate into Atlassian product is very important for us during this. Now, so first we established a case study, then we from case study we went to program management, and now we're talking from program management to program delivery areas. And the key focus areas for program delivery is what is my scope? It is very important to define the scope. And in agile terminology, it becomes a backlog. Then what is the scheduling? Like we did a 3-year plan, we did milestones, and we did a quarterly planning. So all this scheduling has to be very robust in the system. Then we need to have a monitoring and tracking mechanism which ensures that whatever we are trying to schedule, whatever scope you are trying to deliver is moving as per the right velocity to be delivered. What are the risks that are coming into picture, and what is the mitigation? And all this has to be well packaged and properly reported to the stakeholders. Now, I'm just taking these 5 items and trying to give a picture about how can we achieve this within Atlassian products. And that's where I'll now move to the other screen. So Ashish, just please confirm if you see a JPD view.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, just a second. Let me remove all this which I put in here so that we can start fresh. Um,
And guys, I hope everyone is able to see. If not, then just please message on the chat, or if you have any issues. Okay, Satya is saying he's not able to. What about others?
can you please confirm if you are able to see
All
everybody
good.
else? All good? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll continue while Satya
Satya, you
Singh,
may rejoin.
yeah, please. All right.
Perfect.
So we have a product called JPD, and JPD is basically a product management tool. Now, JPD has immense usage for the product managers because it gives you the benefit of creating a backlog into it. So, what you see right now on your screen is something which I've created for this particular training session, where I've created these different tickets in JPD. These are different idea tickets. So, in JPD, basically every ticket is an idea. An idea is basically something which we want to do, but we don't know. It is just an idea. It might work, it might not work. But we need to first create a backlog of all ideas, and that's what JPD is best used for. Now, what is so if you create a JPD board, you can simply use a like let me show you how to create an idea. So I'm just using the same thing here. So very easy, create an idea. I'll just put the name of the idea, say 21. I've just added the idea and I'll press enter button and the idea will be created. Now here is a new idea that has been created. Now, once I've created this idea, so it becomes my backlog for the product development or for the program that we are running. But if we go back to our hierarchy that we established, that if we have the whole scope defined, the most important part, now we went from top to bottom, now we are going to go bottom to up, which means that we have the scope. Now we want to categorize the scope amongst different quarters of how we are going to progressively deliver this. And here what I have done is I have created a field in this JPD as planned year or quarter. And for this particular workshop, I've added values to some, but for others, I will just add it right away in few minutes. I'll show you some more details, and then during that process, I will start adding that and I'll show you what is the benefit of it. So, and creating a field is very easy in JPD. You can just create new fields, whoever has the admin access in your organization. Now what I've done is I've created a field where I have added these quarters as a value, and I can just select a value for this particular initiative from the drop down. Now, once we have categorized these initiatives or these ideas into a target quarter, if you remember, we also had something as a milestone, right? So from the scheduling perspective, we have defined a quarter, but we want to also understand at a given point in time, we want to do a checkpoint saying that, my milestone one for advocates is maybe, if we go back to our slides, then we defined that my milestone one is advocate screens. So is my advocate screen being developed as part of my milestone one? Yes or no? So we need to identify all those ideas which relate to that particular functionality or that particular outcome. So what I have done is I've created something called as a mile field. In Atlassian, I'm calling it as rolling 4 mile, which means that next 4 quarters of milestone. So you see the field as rolling 4 mile, but basically it's a field which gives me the option to identify the milestone for each idea. Like here you can see for this training purpose, I have created 3 milestones, milestone 1, 2, and 3, and I have then tagged them to different ideas. We just now created an idea number 21. All I need to do is I need to identify that maybe if this relates to my specific milestone, one, then I'll just select that value and it is right here. Now, the benefit of this is that we don't need to keep it as a field. We can also use a group by, and it gives you a very good view in terms of how your milestones, how your ideas are categorized under different milestones. Like for my mile one, I've got 7 ideas, and these 7 ideas are spread across different quarters. Now, if I want, I can sort it using the planned duration, so that now I'll have this sorted. So like this is FY23 Q2, 26 Q1, then Q2 and all this. So what we have done using JPD, we have identified the backlog, we have categorized the backlog into different quarters, and then we have also grouped them for against a milestone. Now, every milestone has got its own set of initiatives that are delivering the value that the milestone needs to fulfill. So here we have achieved a structure where we can define different milestones and their related initiatives. But the important part is, if going back to our thing. So scope and scheduling. But if you're doing a monitoring and tracking, then we need to understand the health of the milestone. And health of every milestone is completely dependent upon the health of these initiatives. So because this is now grouped by milestone, I'll remove this field, which is from the view. And I have created a field. Okay, before I go there, on the monitoring perspective, so every initiative or every idea, it has got a name. It can have multiple fields, and it can be assigned. One of the key important part for program management is assignment of initiative. So here it can be easily assigned to people. Like all these initiatives are assigned to me, and very simple to create a field, and there you can just search the name from your organization. You can assign the thing. Like in my organization, I've got assignment as a PM, product manager, assignment as an engineer, different, depending on your organization, how many folks are involved into it. You can actually create that structure to define what initiatives are with who and who are responsible for it. Now, if we go into any initiative, we can actually create a template of information for that initiative. Like here, Atlassian already offers you a template which you can use. So we can use a business requirement template, we can use a hypothesis testing, a problem definition, solution definition. These are different templates that are already there, and if you have a specific requirement, you can actually create a template and then publish it here, so that within the organization everybody can use it. So let's just use any one of them. I'll probably define problem here. So I've selected problem state. Now you see this template gives me a lot of sections. Now, my product manager on the program, or in industry, there are certain business analysts who are working on it. So they can choose a template or create a template, and then after that, they can start filling the information in there, so that there is standardization of information in every ticket that we have. Um, all right, now coming to the monitoring perspective. So what we discussed is that initiative is a backlog. An idea is a backlog item, which means that it is something which we need to refine for the requirements. We need to understand what happens there. And JPD is a tool which is best used by product managers, and somewhere we are trying to use it for delivery management. But it is not a tool where we should have daily updates or weekly updates. For that, Atlassian offers a tool called Atlas. Now I'll take you to Atlas, but what I have done here is I have created a field within JPD which can link to an Atlas, which can link to Atlas projects. And like for the first one you see here, idea one, I've got an Atlas which I've already created for this workshop. Now, what is an atlas? Atlas is basically a project that can be defined, and it is majorly used for weekly updates. Like what you see here, I have created this atlas project, and I am the contributor here. I am the one who is putting updates. I can link it to my goal. I can link it to different projects, milestones. I can create some milestones, like for this particular project, any idea, there are few other internal milestones. So I can create those within Atlas. And I have linked it to that JPD item here. Now, the expectation is that the team members will be posting weekly updates, or even as and when they find any issues, concerns, they just post their updates on this particular ticket. Like, and they select the status, like is it on track, what is the date of delivery for this. They can identify other things here which are more about that information, but the important part is that whatever status, date, and uh, other information that we give, it is well integrated with JPD. What you see here is that I'm getting that date here automatically, I'm getting that status here, and I can also get a few more information from Atlas on JPD, whatever is relevant. Now, how does it help us? What I've done here is I have identified health of this particular initiative by getting regular updates from the team which is working on the particular initiatives on Atlas. And these updates are coming with a health status: on track, at risk, off track, or not yet started, which is pending. So for my monitoring and tracking perspective, I've got a tool where daily or weekly updates can go in, and those updates are flowing into JPD with their status, giving me a health for this initiative. Now, my health for the milestone will be obviously a sum total, or a subjective understanding of how my health for individual initiatives or ideas is for that particular milestone. For example, here I've got 7 ideas. If my health for milestone is dependent on these 7 items, and all of them are maybe off track, then obviously my milestone is off track. If few of them are on track, but most of them are at risk, then again my milestone is at risk. So something similar like this can be very easily understood, but very objectively identified using these tools. Now, so going back to the presentation, we have talked about scope, we have talked about scheduling, we have talked about some part of monitoring and tracking. Now, risk identification and mitigation. What happens here is that once we start getting these weekly or daily updates, then we can certainly use this particular we can use this JPD to create delivery tickets. What are delivery tickets? For product team, we have got JPD, where we can define the ideas. For the program team, we have got Atlas, where the weekly or daily updates can come in, and there can be information that can be deduced. But if you look at it, mostly the organizations are using Jira as the main source of work management, where a Jira ticket is assigned to a particular engineer or engineering team, and they have to work on that. Now, if for a particular idea which converts into an initiative once it gets into the build phase, there are five to seven, 5 to 10 tickets on which the engineering team is working. All those tickets can be linked here, or in fact, they can be created from here. Like for this particular idea one, I can have multiple delivery tickets created right from here. I can create an epic, I can create a bug, I can create an initiative, I can create all these sorts of items that I have defined in my Jira. And those tickets will be linked to this particular initiative, right? So I'll create a epic right here, and we'll see what happens after that. So here it is, I'm creating an epic. I've just clicked delivery, and delivery create ticket, and then I have created done. Now you see this epic is created. Now if I go to this epic, it has got some basic information, which is the name, who is the reporter. I can assign it to myself to work on it, and then I can start putting details into it. The important part is that if we go back to this particular JPD, it actually tracks the progress in terms of what is yet to start, what is completed. So if you have got 10 epics here and two of them are done, it will show you 20% progress. Plus, it is also easy to track it at the dashboard level. It will give you delivery progress. In that, it will show you how many items are in progress. Let us change the status of this item from yet to start to closed, right? I've just changed the status of this epic to closed. What happens here is when I go into delivery, it shows it is closed. I'll just refresh this.
Devish, after this, maybe we can take a pause. There are
Yeah,
two questions on the chat.
sure. I'm almost done. So this will start coming here. I think it's taking a little time, but this is how we can track the delivery. Now I'll just touch upon the last function, which is reporting. So once we start create this JPD view, it can easily be reported as a very standard. You can actually create a Gantt chart view of JPD items. And it is within this tool, we have the option to create a Gantt chart view. And along with that, we also can use Jira charts to bring that information. Like here, it is talking about how many items are in build, how many are in explore, which is basically requirement gathering, how many are in parking lot, which have not been picked up. And from Atlas, where we have different status, we can actually create filters. And those filters can easily be put on a Confluence page to show how many items from the list are in pending state, what is the current number of items in off track state. So all this information can easily be brought to Confluence for reporting purpose. So I'll now pause. We are 30 minutes into the workshop, and here I'll take a few questions. Yes, Ashish, I think you said there are two questions. Um,
Okay.
Ashish?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. So the first one is from Soumyadeep. I
Yeah,
can directly monitor and track the status of my ideas in JPD via Jira Epic or Stories. Why should I need Atlas in that case?
correct. Now, what happens here is that if you post your daily updates on your um, I'll just say this is my Epic, and if you're posting your daily updates as a message or as a comment on this Epic, then you're not sharing the health of this or how are we progressing towards the completion or are we having any challenges. The benefit of using Atlas is that along with the updates, which are basically defined as a weekly update, along with the update, we are also sharing the information whether we are on track for the delivery that we are targeting. What is my current delivery date? And if there are any risks, we can identify them here, right here in the tool. So this particular tool, which is Atlas, it gives you a benefit that your message is not text, rather it becomes valuable information in terms of status, in terms of target dates, in terms of how much completion you have achieved, and all those information that can be easily transferred and quantified and collected in a single place like JPD. Yeah.
Okay.
Next question, please.
Thanks, Devesh. Just one information to share on this. Axel Surya, thank you. He shared some updates. Atlas allows you to link the ideas in JPD to goals. Atlas will be retired into a platform experience that is goals, which will be available through the Atlassian platform.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Next question is from Natalia. Can I use the JPD screen to pull more values from the Atlas project other than the project name and status?
Yes, there are certain standard values which we are pulling from Atlas and other tools to JPD. So once you start establishing a JPD board, you will see those fields which are default, which are defined by this, the organization as an Atlassian as a product company. So we have defined certain fields like status, dates, and few other fields that are predefined in the system. So there is a existing link between these two products. We cannot define new fields there certainly because every field has to be linked, and that linking is between two different products. So if you need additional fields, certainly reach out to the support and raise a kind of request to add a new field, and I think they'll evaluate it against the request.
Okay, thanks, Devesh.
Yeah. Any further questions?
No, not as of now.
Okay, so I'll now continue with the reporting part. So here, at a very high level, I just showcase few things. One is the Gantt chart, the other is pie chart, and third is the status updates. The health check. Now, how do we achieve this Gantt chart? So in JPD, there is an existing feature that it can create a Gantt chart for a list of initiatives. So what you have to do is define a period. You have to define what ideas you have to define those filters for those ideas. Like I've done it for these items which are labeled as training. So I've got these ideas already here. Now on this Gantt chart, if I understand that my dates are different and I want it to be at a different time, I can certainly use this mechanism to shift these items, and their respective dates are getting changed on the other screen. So here, like for example, for idea 7, I have now shifted it to be from in March to April timeframe. If I go back to the list for idea 7, the dates, so I have not pulled the dates, I'll add those dates here. That is Atlas date, or yeah, just a second. Yeah. So now you can see that my estimated ship date is now shifted to April 15. Let's do the same thing for idea 8. It is currently June 2026. If I go and move it here for idea 8 is here. I'm moving it to February. And if I go and check here for idea 8, it is now February 26. Now, all this is very dynamic. So the moment you make any change, the same time things change here. I'll now, so what I've shown you right just now is how can this information be on the Gantt chart, and how can we move things around in the Gantt chart. Now, as a workshop, I will now create a Atlas link to one of the product idea. So let's use this one. This is idea number 16. So I'm just copying the name. So I'll create an Atlas with the same name. You don't have to create it by same name, but here just for the training purpose and just to make the system consistent, I'm doing that. So right here I'm on my Atlas project. Here there's a plus button, and I'm going to give a name to it. I can give a smiley to it. I can just say this is my idea. I'm going to make it private because this is a training item, and I press a create project. And right here, this project is created. Now, in the about section, I can fill the details about more about the project. In the update section, I have to provide the updates and learning, risk, and decisions. How do I link? I'll just copy the link here. I'll go back to the JPD, and we have done it for idea number 16. Clicking this box, it gives you an option to just put in the number of the atlas. What you see here is 84450, or I can simply paste the link. It will go and search, and I have to just select it. There you go. The atlas is now linked, and the status is coming as pending. Right? So this is the atlas, and here is the status pending. Now we created this as a new item, idea number 16. The moment we have created this, let's go and check. So if you remember, this is the report. This is the health check, dashboard, which I was showing you what all information can be present. It doesn't have idea number 16 here. So yeah, this is idea number 10. This is idea number 3. I'm on a small screen. If I was on a large screen, it would have shown you easier. So idea number 10 and idea number 3 are there. Idea number 16 is not there. I'll just refresh the page. We have just created idea number 16, which is in pending state. And what you see here is that these filters are getting refreshed. Now I've got idea number 10, I've got idea number 3, and sorry, okay, I didn't add, okay, for that I have to add a tag. This is tag based filters and train users. Yeah, this is the tag that I have used for the training purpose. So once I add the train user tag here and I refresh this page, for normal program management activities, you won't need a tag, but here, because it is a training thing, I've added tags. And here I've got 10, I've got 16. You see, the moment I've added tag, it has started coming here with a pending state. So it's pretty dynamic. The benefit of it is that the moment there is a change in the status, there is a risk identified, there is a delay in things, and it is reported with the right status, right citation, we can easily track that under different buckets. So this is very fast tracking mechanism here. Right, so what we just did is we had an idea, we created a quarter for it, we linked it to a milestone, we assigned it, we also defined the duration or the schedule for it. We created a Gantt chart where we can move things around, and we linked it by creating a new Atlas ticket, and we linked the Atlas ticket to JPD item, and that Atlas ticket status is now reflective on the dashboard. Now, when we talk about this dashboard, let's look at it very closely. What do we have? We have got a Gantt view. We just saw that in the JPD it offers you the option to create Gantt view. You have to select a duration. You have to select a filter, which will give you the ideas. It will create the Gantt view, and then right here you can use the share button to copy the link and add it on a Confluence page. That's it. You will get the Gantt view. But how do I get the pie chart? So um, all the ideas that I have created in this system, I have used a label for them. There's a concept of label. Label is basically a identifier. So you can use label. It is a field which is for all JPD. And here I've used train users as a label. So when I went to my Confluence page to create a pie chart, all I did is I just created a Jira query where I said wherever the labels is train users, I need that. You see here the JQL that I've written is labels equals to train users, and it will populate all those ideas that are having train users, and it gets all the information as parking, whatever their status, and all those fields which are there on it. Then using this, I'm sure the team here is already aware, but I'll just show you again. So in the edit mode, this is a Jira chart, and in Jira chart, I have added, just a second, it will take a few seconds to bring that edit screen. So once you add once you use the pie chart of Jira, you have to give a query to it. So here it is. So in this query, I have used the same thing, label equals to train users, and it has given me the pie chart. I have used status as the display option. So it uses the status field and it creates this pie chart right here. So that is, so we have talked about how to create Gantt chart, how to move things around on a status level. How do we get program phases? For that, we can have different status fields, and those status fields can be brought from JPD to Confluence as a pie chart. Now, talking about these filters, what did I do here? How did I create them? So we just discussed that for every initiative that we or idea that we have, we can link it to Atlas, and on the Atlas we can get the status. Now Atlas offers you an option that you can tag your initiative. So if I, like in this case, I've used a tag of train users. Now once I do that, I can, this tag itself becomes a filter. So anything which is tagged to train users, it gives you all those items. It gives you a dashboard to say how many of them are on track, how many are at risk, how many are off track. And there are three where there are no updates. So you see this, I've created it, created Atlas tickets only for these many items because it's just a training session. And here I have created, given some status, and those status are well identified here. Now, using this train user tag, I can create more filters. Like in this case, I have created a filter. Just a second. So I've created a filter which says the tag is train user and status is pending. Or I can use a status to be off track, to be at risk, on track. So based on this, all these filters are created. And whenever there is a change in the status of the Atlas ticket and the page is refreshed, immediately the filter picks that change because it always goes and queries the list and it automatically adjusts it, which means that the delay between an event from occurring to event getting identified or reported is almost zero, which increases the speed of identification of an issue or a risk and then taking a required action around it, right? So I'll take a pause here. We have 15 minutes, before just we are left with only 15 minutes. So I'll take few questions if there are any.
So Devesh, we have one more question. Uh,
Yeah.
can you set dependency links between ideas?
Yes. So what you can do here is the way I operate my programs is that when I go to my delivery section, here, if there is a item which is on which my particular initiative is dependent, I attach it, I link it here so that I know that what is the progress. But along with that, here in the idea itself, we have the option to link those items. I'll just show you just a minute. So right here, you can link issues. And you can say has action, is action for action items. So all this options are there where, and it depends on, is depended on by. So all these dependencies can be added in your JPD itself so that you know that what is the health of that dependency. Let's do that activity. So if I'm saying that I have a dependency for my item 1857 on say 101859. So 1859. So it has brought that up here and I have just added it. Great. Now it shows me not only that particular item, but it also gives me the status. What is the current status of it? It is currently in the delivery phase, or which is in the build phase. Once it progresses the status, I can check that how, if I've got say 10 dependencies, what are the status of my 10 dependencies? I know that status right here in this particular idea, which is dependent on those items. So I hope this answers that question.
Yeah, adding to it, can this be visualized in Gantt view?
No, in Gantt view is basically showing you the visibility in terms of the dates and timelines. It doesn't create those links like, I think you're talking about this particular item linking to this and things
Yeah.
like that. It basically gives you a visibility in terms of what is my initiative, what is its duration, and you can choose what fields do you want to show here. Like I've chosen this. I can also choose who is the assignee. So it will immediately start showing who is the assignee. Like it has started showing my name here, my picture. Or I can choose something else where I have got information that will start coming up here. So this
Okay.
is purely a Gantt view to show the timeline for it.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Another question from Soumyadeep: is Atlas the same tool as goals appearing on the Jira platform?
Correct. So Atlas, let me go back to my presentation. And here, if you remember, what we said is that we have identified a case study into multi-year, multi-team, and then multi-milestone deliveries. Now, what is a goal? Goal is basically something that you set for a particular duration. Say for my year one, there is a particular goal of creating MVP for everything. So in Atlas, I will create a goal. Under that goal, I will further identify what are the different projects that are linked to that goal. because then the health of the goal or whether the goal is achieved or not is very objectively identified, whether the projects that were identified for that particular goal are completed or not. So yes, you're right. Atlas has got the features of creating goals. It has the features of creating projects, and those projects can be then linked to JPD items, the way I just showed you, to track the progress in a single place and then report them.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Devesh.
Any further questions?
Not as of now.
Okay. So I'll just again reaffirm what we just talked about. We talked about creating a backlog, then we identify different quarters to it, then we attach them to a different milestone, and for each milestone we get a view on the health check by identifying the health of that particular item. How do we check the health? We use Atlas as a tool, which gives you the benefit of identifying the progress on a daily or weekly basis and identifying what is the current status, whether it is on track for the target date or not. And those items can easily be brought to JPD view. Along with this, if there are epics or initiatives that are linked to that particular ticket, those items can be tracked under the JPD by using delivery option. In this delivery option, we can either create or link an existing epic or any Jira item, and that list can be easily monitored here. On the dashboard also, we have the feature of monitoring the delivery progress. So this is what we have just now seen and we have identified. Now going back to the presentation. So here we said that we are going to talk about scope. We did that. Scheduling in terms of Gantt chart, in terms of identifying the target quarter, we did that. Monitoring and tracking, we did this by using Atlas as a tool, linking it to JPD. And then risk identification and mitigation, we discussed this to some extent by identifying the regular updates, in-time updates, and reporting we discussed in terms of Gantt chart, in terms of Atlas filters, and in terms of the pie chart, which gives you the status. So these are the 5 things we just discussed. Now moving back to our JPD. Now what are the fields that we can create? In JPD, you can have any number of a wide number of fields, and you can actually create um, different types of fields. Let me do one thing. I'll just try to create a new field, and there are different types of fields. Like you can use a field type as checkbox, which will mean that the values you can just checkbox one of them. You can use a type as date. You can use a hyperlink, so it will basically link. It will create whatever link you will give it. It can be clicked, and you can move to that particular item. Multi-select, like in this case, the quarter thing, we have got it as multi-select. So you can actually, sorry, not the quarter thing. The label is a multi-select where you can add multiple labels to the same idea. Numbers, very simple. It's a number. People, like it showed that you can assign a particular item to assignee, or you can have a PM field, you can have engineering field, you can have a design field, and you can choose this thing to basically connect it. It by default connects with your organization's list of people, whatever your system you have, that's so domain, and then from there it pulls some names and you can assign things there. Rating, this particular field type, it basically gives you the option to give different ratings. Like for example, if you're doing a check whether a particular item is what's the complexity of that item, so you can rate it from high, medium, low, those things. Reaction, it is a tool where you can add different smileys and reactions to it. Select, so it gives you a drop down, you can do that. So there are quite a few, and you can also use something as Jira. Now if you attach a Jira to it, it basically syncs that information between JPD item and Jira. So again, as I said, this JPD is very closely interlinked with Atlas, Jira, and different tools, so that information is there. Now, once we have created these fields, the benefit of the reporting comes from the fact that what is the quality of information, sorry, what is the quality of information that is there. So we have to just make sure that the status or the fields that we are using for reporting are very much up to date. Again, let's deep dive a little bit here. So if you see this, I've got this idea one on track. Right here in the workshop, I'll post another update here, right? Update during workshop, and I'm moving the status to at risk for this one. There can be templates that can be used here. So there are different templates, again, very easy to implement. So this just standardizes the format of information. You can use some of the smileys, list of smileys that you can use here to showcase. You can add images, you can add links, and you can also add notes. What is notes? So basically what happens here is, like, you can see this is a small card, but if you have to give lots of information in terms of uh, very detailed information, that can be put in these notes. So I'm just sharing this so that you see how it appears. And here I can probably, let me do one thing. Wikipedia, and okay, or yeah, JPD. I want to probably post this much of information on my Atlas. So I'm going to put it here, right? Now I'll post this update. So this on my idea one, it has now moved to at risk. And you see here, there's a small card. It shows that the status has changed from on track to at risk. So the history is maintained. And those details which I put there, these are in this notes section. So on a high level, the updates are here and the detailed views inside. Now, I just now moved it from on track to at risk, idea one. Let's just see how does it show in my filter. I've just now updated this page of my reports. You see my on track is now 0 and my idea one has moved to at risk. So it is an instant reporting. The moment it happens, there's no lag between systems. There's no delay, like, if things have changed, the dashboard is automatically updated when you refresh it. So that's a very good feature, that uh, the duration between an event from happening to getting reported is almost none. So this is one thing that so we have just seen how different updates can be posted on Atlas, and what is the benefit of it, right? So yeah, I think that's it. And now let's just go back to our presentation and see what did we want to achieve as a takeaway. We were going to talk about Jira Product Discovery as a backlog for scope management. We talked about it. We talked about creating all those ideas, and obviously, then integrated approach of these tools of Atlas, Jira, and JPD. So we certainly saw how well they are integrated, how we can link Atlas, how we can create Jira tickets under delivery section and monitor their progress. Creating impactful reports. So we talked about the dashboards, different, I've just shared few items. There's a huge list of information that you can use. So once you can create those filters, you can use them in different ways on Confluence to create those reports for management or senior stakeholders or people like sponsors of the program. So that's these are the three takeaways that we wanted to achieve, and I hope uh, everybody was able to find this session informative on these three takeaways. Any
Thank
questions, Ashish?
Yeah, thank you, Devesh. There is one more question from Somadeep.
Yeah.
Keeping Atlas projects up to date with regular comments or notes seems to be an additional overhead for the product teams. They anyways have to do the same on the delivery tickets in Jira. In that case, who has the accountability of keeping Atlas projects updated regularly?
Perfect question. So this is more about ways of working, right? The question is not about on the tools, it is rather about ways of working. Now, it completely depends upon how your organization is structured. So I've seen certain organizations who have Scrum Master as a dedicated role, where the role of the Scrum Master is to conduct a stand-up and then report those updates. So it can be that the information that is discussed on those tickets is rather not discussed on the tickets but on the atlas, because if there is a one-to-one mapping. But if here in this case we're talking about atlas mapping to the idea, an idea can have multiple epics, which means that during a discussion or during a accumulation of information, a person can understand what is the outcome of maybe three or four engineering epics or three or four test epics, and what is the after identifying that outcome, can post a comment or an update on the atlas to basically report the progress on the program level. Different roles are there in the organizations: program delivery management role, program manager, scrum master, and in fact a lead engineer or lead tester. So it completely depends upon the ways of working of the organization, how they're structured.
Okay, thank you, Devesh.
Yeah. All right.
I don't see any more questions, but really, thank you. It was a very good session. If I talk about me personally, I learned a lot, and I'm assuming same for our participants also. Thank you for this.
Thank you. It was a pleasure conducting this session and especially sharing all this information with the energetic audience here. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Devish. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining. And we have another session planned in next month. That's 25th of February. Streamlining support, incident and communication made easy. You will get that information uh, on WhatsApp groups and our community groups and on the community page. I have shared the link over here. So please feel free to join that session too. And thanks, Devesh, for this wonderful sessions. And we'll be updating soon of of the recordings and everything on the uh, event page itself.
Thank you. Have a
Okay,
good day.
thank you guys.
Bye.
Good
Thank
day.
you. Bye.
Bye.